We are back, folks, with yet another session on this year's Prepathon. I think the previous couple of sessions were great. I mean, Talia talked a lot about AI and emotions. I think when you talk about Gen Z and Gen Alpha, I think emotion plays a huge part in that. So that was insightful, and then the activity after that was really fun. I think it was easier than I expected. I think I got a lot of those right, and I could see in the comment section that you guys were killing it. I mean, you guys had got a lot of those answers, questions right. So yeah, I mean that was fun, and I think moving forward we have a great session, a panel discussion on hosting, and I think this is something that we do best. So the topic is the hidden engine of e-commerce growth, why hosting matters more. So for this session, we have two very special guests who will be joining us. First one is Suhaib Zaheer. He is the Senior Vice President of Managed Services for DigitalOcean. Suhaib, it's absolutely lovely to have you in this year's Prepathon. I think it's becoming a regular occurrence that we have been having you in our events, and I think you're sort of getting used to it now. But but yeah, I mean it's awesome to have you on our panel today. And with him, we have Ali Ahmed Khan, who is the Senior Director of Product at DigitalOcean. Ali, it's a pleasure to have you as well with us on this panel discussion. I think these two make a power couple, I would say, in terms of product and hosting and servers. So I think this panel discussion is going to be great. So hey Ali, what do you think about this Prepathon? How are you feeling? And if you can share some words.
Sure. Ali, I'll go first if you don't mind. So first off, Moise, thank you for having me. I love being at the event. I mean, it's just so much energy around Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and just making sure that we're sharing all the knowledge and wisdom of decades of experience with our customers, so they understand how can they really take advantage of what is really a peak sales moment for most companies around the world. So it's always a fun time to be at Prepathon with you guys, and I just love the information that we're sharing. And I think this year particularly, all the sessions and around commerce and AI. I mean,
Hmm.
this is really meaty stuff for customers to really
Right.
soak into and really understand how to capitalize on the opportunity. So thanks again for having us and letting us participate.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Aliva, anything that you would like to say before we begin off with the questions?
similar thoughts. To be honest, Moise, I think that the choice of the topics, and I really like the agenda throughout the
Hmm.
3 days of this prepathon, and it makes sense. To be honest,
Yeah.
BFCM is coming up, and we are talking about e-commerce and how what role AI is playing in e-commerce
Yeah.
and how is it shaping the future. I think it really makes sense for the audience, and it gives us a chance as well to share our perspective with our customers and audience out there.
Yeah, and before I start off with the questions, again, I just wanted to give a shout out to our partners who have partnered with us to make this event possible. I also want to make an announcement on the fact that we are running a giveaway that is going throughout the event. So make sure that you comment, ask questions, answer to the polls, so that you can go up the leaderboard and get a chance to win that Amazon gift card by the end of day three. So moving on to the first question. Moving on to the first question of this panel discussion, and I won't put any one of you on the spotlight. I think I can have this opinion from both of you. So my first question is, and it's very simple, it's very straightforward. I mean, and I think this is something that our audience would obviously want to know, that why should hosting be a key part of an e-commerce strategy rather than an afterthought? I mean, hosting is often still, and it's surprising that it's been kept, aside when you think about online stores and e-commerce. Other things come first, and then people are like, okay, so for hosting we will just choose what's more cheaper and what's more affordable. But I think this question revolves around, what's the importance of hosting in your e-commerce strategy for any online store owners, regardless of their niche. So how should an online store owner sort of put weightage or importance on hosting when it comes to their e-commerce strategy?
I can go first on this one. So yeah, Moise, as you mentioned, it's reality. It's a reality that hosting is often an afterthought, and it's people. Most of the people consider it as a backend concern. But in reality, if you look at all the main growth levers, if you are hosting an e-commerce store somewhere, whether it's SEO, whether it's conversion rate, whether it's bounce rates, etc., all of this depends on the hosting that you have selected. It depends on the response times. It depends on the speed and the stability that your e-commerce store is getting just because of the hosting environment that you have selected. So I think, yeah, uh, when things start to fall apart, hosting is the first domino that falls, and I think this realization is really important. And in this day and age where we are seeing a lot of AI stuff around us, it even matters more, in my opinion, because
Yeah.
uh, the front ends are decoupled in a way that, okay, uh, there there may be scenarios where customers are getting a lot of traffic, and most of the traffic is not even from the customers scrolling through their websites. As we have seen with the personal assistants like ChatGPT and etc. So I think the backend that you have matters more now in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, to second kind of Ali's point, I think about it like when you're building a house, you're laying the foundation. And a lot
Mm.
of times what we see is customers, rightfully so, they spend a lot of money in designing their site. They spend a lot of money on ads and SEO and marketing things. But the reality is that the hosting is really that foundational infrastructure.
Mm.
It's that layer, right? The foundation that the house is built
Yeah.
on. And if you don't pay attention to that, then the house can crumble, right? And so
Yeah.
it's one of those things that absolutely should be a part of your strategic plan
Mm.
when you're thinking about how you're going to build a commerce store, because again, it future proofs the business as traffic
Mm.
and complexity grow. So it's really, really important, and to your point, it should not be an afterthought.
Yeah, I love the example of of a house. I mean, when you lay the foundation, it's usually that foundation that sort of holds it up when adversity comes. So I think that's a good example to share when you sort of talk about importance of hosting for an e-commerce store. Following up on that, I mean, there are certain things that are sort of attached to website performance. It's speed, uptime, and then some people sort of attach security in it as well. How does these things sort of directly impact conversions and sales for an e-commerce stores? So if you want to go first.
Yeah, look, I think there's plenty of research on this, right? Like even a 1 second delay can drop conversions by double digits. So speed is something when you're looking at hosting providers, you absolutely have to account for speed. I mean, performance is one of the key things, whether it's an e-commerce store or an informational site. When a customer or prospect lands on your site, you don't want that thing taking multiple
Mm.
seconds to load, right? Every second that's delayed it's just hurting the business, it's hurting your brand reputation, and it's costing you sales. I think on the flip side, you also have to pay attention to uptime, right? Because during those peak moments, if your site goes down or things crash, you're going to lose again. You're going to do brand reputation
Yeah.
damage. You're going to lose customers, and so you really have to be looking at what I call that trifecta. It's the speed, but it's uptime, but it's also security, especially in this day and age with AI and bad actors getting more creative.
Yeah.
Any security incident can really destroy trust
Mhm.
and sometimes take years to repair, if ever. So I
Yeah.
think security, speed, and uptime, all three of those are really, really key things to look at when you're selecting a LLC provider.
Yeah, and I agree. And just to echo what Sway mentioned,
Mm.
I have one data point that signifies the importance of why performance means so much when it comes to trust and conversions of your e-commerce store.
Mm.
So Google, in one of their studies, found out that 53% of users will bounce if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. Now, 53%, it's a damn big number, right?
Yeah.
And on the other hand, the time uh, that they found out was it just if a mobile site takes longer than 3 seconds to load. Now, 3 seconds is
Mhm.
nothing, right? And that's why I connected with the first question as well. If hosting is not taken as an afterthought, and if
Yeah.
businesses really start giving importance to how important hosting is for the performance of the website, and
Mhm.
eventually it leads to, because when your website is slow, when your e-commerce
Mhm.
store is slow or is down, let's say, you are bleeding revenue by every second, right? And
Yeah.
that's why that signifies the importance of hosting, in my opinion.
Awesome. So with that note, I want to just divert this discussion towards growth, towards cross-border traffic. I mean, right now you can't say any single online store caters to just one specific region. I mean, most of the online stores that are growing globally, right? And with that comes the challenge of catering to cross-border traffic, right? Traffic coming in from the USA, the store is being hosted in, for example, Thailand, and the traffic is coming from the other part of the world, seven seas across. So I think my question is that what hosting challenges do businesses face when expanding internationally?
So
Whether
if
you want to take that?
yeah, I can go first. If I categorize
Yeah.
or if I summarize the challenges, I'll say it boils down to two challenges that
Mm.
customers face when we talk about global expansion. The first is latency. Let's take an example. If your server is in, let's say, Frankfurt,
Yeah.
and you are scaling in Southeast Asia, and then customers that you might be getting from Bangkok or Manila might be seeing 5 times, 7 times, eight
Mm.
times, or often 10 times slower page speeds, right? So
Mm.
that's latency is number one in my opinion. The other one is compliance and data sovereignty, I think. So we have seen GDPR, and we have seen a lot of other countries coming up with their own compliance regulations, and I think these two challenges.
Mm.
I have seen customers facing these two challenges when it's time for them to scale. That's why I think uh, uh, you need things like edge caching, multi-region support, smart
Mm.
CDNs, and compliance that is baked into the infrastructure, into your
Okay.
hosting solution.
So, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, like plus one to everything you said. I mean, when you're looking for a hosting provider, especially when you're doing
Mm.
commerce, I mean, you have to look for someone that's offering distributed
Yeah.
infrastructure, CDN integrations. I mean, these are the things that, regardless of if you're in London or Manila or wherever you are, can help ensure that they're getting consistent experience on the other side. And Ali mentioned a great stat that over 50% of customers are going to be gone, right? If your site even
Mm.
takes 3 seconds to load. So I think sometimes folks don't realize that every second matters and how
Yeah.
much it matters. And so I can't stress enough, like that distributed infrastructure, CDN integrations. I mean, these things they're table stakes now, and you have to ensure that whatever hosting provider you're going to use is doing them and doing them well.
Awesome. So Ibn Ali, my next question is around personalization and AI. I mean, we are talking about AI since the past, what, 3 years now, and we have been building products like Copilot to sort of cater to that need that consumers have with regards to artificial intelligence. So AI and personalization obviously are the hot topics in e-commerce, but since like a past couple of years, what role does a strong hosting infrastructure play in enabling these advanced capabilities? I mean, how does a strong hosting ensures that there is AI, there is personalization for an e-commerce store?
Well, I think, look, AI driven personalization, it really requires a lot. Real time data processing, integration, really resource intensive workloads,
Mm.
right? And without infrastructure that can scale, without a resilient hosting backbone, those features can overwhelm a site, overwhelm the infrastructure, and really cause a degradation in performance, or even worse, your site to crash, right? So when you have weak infrastructure, it's going to cause slowdowns or failures of the personalization engines.
Mm.
And right now, we're just at the infancy stage. I mean, where we're going to go and what we're going to see AI do over the coming months, it's just going to be incredible, right? So having a strong hosting infrastructure that could support the chatbots, the recommendation models, the analytics at scale, I mean, that's really critical, right? Because we see hosting really evolving into becoming this like enabler of the intelligence layer, right? That's gonna take place. And so I just think this is one of those things that you can't, you have to stay focused on and realize that without that sort of infrastructure to support what's going on with AI, you won't be able to compete with your competitors or what's happening in the market. So that's my perspective anyway.
Yeah, and I think out of all the industries that AI is disrupting, I think
Mm.
e-commerce is the industry that it's disrupting the fastest, right?
Mm.
We saw yesterday or earlier this week, ChatGPT launched e-commerce within ChatGPT, right? And then Stripe launched their agentic commerce protocol. So what
Mm.
this sends to us is basically we will have personal assistants who will be shopping on your behalf. So, for example, if you search on ChatGPT, okay, I want a coffee mug, right? And this is what I want the coffee mug to look like, this color,
Mm.
or to just specify it in some ways. And then
Mm.
you will have the option to purchase
Yeah.
to purchase that coffee mug from then and there within ChatGPT. Now, what
Yeah.
this means is you will not have customers visiting your e-commerce store
Mm.
in rather in near future rather than distant future, right? So you as a conventional e-commerce store owner, you may not be experiencing a lot of traffic coming to your website, but you'll still be getting the orders of the SKUs available on your website. So I
Mm.
think as we are seeing front ends getting decoupled from backends, I think it signifies the importance of a hosting provider that offers, let's say, headless hosting out of the box, right? Or makes
Mm.
it easier for the customers. Yeah, that's my take on this one.
Awesome. Before I move on to my next question, I just want to encourage people in the comment section that they can too ask questions. Get your hosting queries resolved by Suhaib and Ali. I don't think there are two better people who can answer your hosting questions right now. So make sure that you drop your questions in the comment to make sure that they're answered by these two experts that we have over here. Sohaib, I just want your input on this, and obviously I will come to Ali as well. Uh, on obviously Black Friday, right? I mean, Black Friday for us is a huge season, and obviously for many e-commerce stores around the world, it's one of the biggest sales seasons for them. During big sales season like Black Friday or 11/11, what's the single most important hosting factor merchants should prepare for?
One word: scalability. Scalability, scalability, scalability. Look, you can have the best marketing campaign in the world, but if your site's going to buckle under traffic spikes, then you've lost the moment, right? So preparing means like load testing ahead of time, ensuring that the scaling is in place. And look, with hosts like Cloudways, I mean, you have options for manually scaling resources. So if you're aware of kind of what's going to happen, you can plan for that in advance. With the click of a button, scale up and scale down resources. Or even better, we have things like Cloudways Autonomous, which will just handle all that for you automatically, right? But the name of the game is scalability. When you have these peaks and valleys, especially during hot sale seasons, that's the number one thing that we see going wrong for customers that don't plan in advance and don't have the right products supporting them, is that their sites crash under load, right? And then you just lost. So many of our customers and so many customers around the globe
Hmm.
spend so much time preparing for this moment, and
Yeah.
so to have something go wrong could be catastrophic, right? And that's the
Hmm.
reason why I would say that's the number one thing in my mind.
I couldn't agree more to this point. Scalability without friction has to be the number one thing.
Yeah.
And if I break it down further, so we know a lot of our customers,
Hmm.
a lot of our e-commerce stores who host our websites on Cloudways, what they are expecting during this peak season, this BFCM season, is auto scaling based on real traffic behavior. Number one. Number two, it's predictable performance under load. They don't want any unpredictable behavior from our hosting when they get the peaks and valleys that
Yeah.
Swip talked about. And then the third important point I think is cache layers that don't crumble when you need them the most.
Hmm.
So I think scalability without friction has to be the number one, the most important factor for big sales events like BFCM.
Awesome. This brings me to my last question for today. I'm sure people will have more questions in the comment section that we can go through. But security breaches. Let's talk about security. I mean, we talk about performance. We talk about Black Friday. We talk about scalability. But security breaches and downtime can obviously destroy brand reputation. I mean, Subhay mentioned that when you get more traffic, I mean, it's imminent that your website may go down if you don't have a good hosting. So, how can businesses balance performance with rock solid reliability?
Yeah. Look, you have to have both. I mean, we talk about performance a lot because that's the first thing that customers typically are looking for, right? Is they want that website to be very performant, and it needs to be, right? But I can't stress the reliability factor enough and the security piece enough, right? It's not really a trade-off. It's not one or the other. The two have to go hand in hand in order to really deliver the right, safe, secure, and performant experience for the end user, right? And so I would say that, a good hosting partner is going to give you both. You need to have the layers of defense from a security perspective, firewalls, malware protection, SSL, etc. And without that, you're really putting your own brand at risk. Keeping customer data safe without delivering a subpar kind of performance experience, they both really have to go hand in hand. So I would say that look for a host that does both of them and does them both well.
I agree, and I think it's not on the customers to find the balance between security and performance. Right, the hosting provider, the hosting partner that they are going for has to give them out of the box both of these options, both of these
Yeah.
components. Um, I'll give an example of Copilot here to emphasize the importance of security. Right, because that's a product that we recently launched and it's in GA now, and a lot of customers are using
Yeah.
it, and we are getting really good feedback. Now, imagine you are getting DDoS on your website or your e-commerce store, right? And through conventional means, you will be going to support channels to get that resolved, right? Block the IPs, and our research has shown that it usually takes somewhere between 35 to 45 minutes for such critical incidents to get resolved. But then Copilot basically comes in and it brings that resolution time down to under 5 minutes. So this is pretty big. I mean, security should not be an afterthought and should not be on the customer, to be honest. You are going for a managed hosting provider, it should be
Hmm.
available out of the box for you.
Yeah. I would also say on that last thing, with respect to security, this is one of those things that you cannot, sometimes your brand can't come back from, right? One serious compromise where you have a loss of customer data or something. I mean, a lot of brands can't recover from that. Even
Yeah.
when you see the giants, the Googles, the Facebooks, the Metas, or whatever, when they have issues that happen, I mean, they have that brand name to rely on, and there's still a lot of negative customer sentiment. You'll see churn, you'll see other things that happen, right? But the reality is, for small businesses who don't have tens of millions of dollars to dump into branding and are not household names, one compromise can really be the end of the company. And so,
Yeah.
I can't stress, especially in this day and age, when you see some of these bad actors who are getting more creative, they're using AI to do things that are more aggressive and harder to catch. I mean, you really, really have to put a strong emphasis on making sure that your hosting
Yeah.
partner is doing both and doing them both really, really well.
Awesome. I want to take this conversation forward and talk about the evolution of hosting. Like, Suhaib and Ali, you both have extensive experience in working in this industry. You have been working for DigitalOcean and Cloudways for a long time, so you must have that an idea of how hosting can evolve in the next 3 to 4 years. So how do you see it changing and evolving in the next 2 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years, especially as e-commerce becomes more mobile first and AI driven?
Ali and I spent a lot of time with the Diaz and others on our team talking about, okay, what's going to happen with AI and where is this all going, right?
Yeah.
I think the way we're looking at this is hosting is going to move beyond being this kind of static service to something that's very dynamic and delivering this like intelligence layer, right? To your point, mobile first shoppers, they demand near instant load time. So edge computing and all that stuff is just going to be table stakes. But AI is going to help hosting become even more proactive, right? When it comes to self-healing and auto optimization, etc. The platform is going to get so intelligent over time as AI gets smarter and better that that technically platforms like ours will be able to predict before the bad thing happens or before your site is degraded, delivering degraded performance because of an issue. It'll identify it, it'll block it, it'll self-heal, and all of that's going to become better and better and more effective, right? So it's really going to evolve, and it's going to evolve rapidly. I mean, we've, to Ali's point, we've already done some amazing things with Copilot, and this is
Yeah.
just the beginning. I mean, if you look at the roadmap of what we're bringing to market, it's going to be a really exciting next 2-3 quarters, right? But we really do see hosting becoming deeply ingrained into business intelligence workflows and really becoming this intelligence layer so that you can understand what's going to happen before it happens and then do something about it, right? Before your customers ever feel any kind of pain. And so it's evolving at a breakneck speed. It's something that we're talking about all the time, and we're really actually excited to see how we can leverage AI to really,
Yeah.
really 10x the experience we're delivering today.
Yep, yep. If I could conclude it in three words, for me, it's agentic, autonomous, and invisible. So we've touched upon a lot of points regarding how we are incorporating AI into our workflows to shape up the future of hosting,
Mm.
managed hosting specifically.
Yeah.
I think self-healing infra, AI co-pilots, the way we look at them right now,
Mm.
and then invisible scaling up. I mean, when I say invisible, what I really mean is hosting will not be the same as we know of it today, right?
Yeah.
I often say that until now, what is the promise of a managed hosting partner, right? A managed hosting partner promises performance,
Yeah.
security, and reliability, right? But I think we are moving into a day and age where this promise needs to be bigger. This promise needs to be more than that, and that promise should cover how we are going to help as a hosting partner, how we are going to help our e-commerce businesses, our agencies, and our customers succeed in their businesses.
Awesome. So, Evan, let's talk about agility for a while. So, my next question is around agility during peak sales season. I mean, the Black Friday, Cyber Monday is just around the corner. How can merchants and store owners leverage platforms like Cloudways to balance cost and performance when traffic surges? So, obviously, a lot of store owners experience traffic spikes during their sales season because obviously they're running campaigns and Facebook ads and whatnot. So, how can they experience and leverage platforms like ours to make sure that they are sustainable, they are available, and they are sort of catering to that traffic like they are supposed to?
Yeah, I mean, look, the beauty of a company like Cloudways is that we offer multiple different ways that you can manage that. We talked about scalability earlier, right? So Cloudways really lets merchants kind of scale resources up and down with a click. I mean, it's truly that simple. You click a button and you get what you need, right? And for those folks that don't even want to put in that level of effort, we have products like Cloudways Autonomous that essentially will just do it all for you. right? And the beauty of this is that you scale up as you need it, you scale down when you don't need it. And that elasticity that we offer means that you don't have to choose between losing sales to slowdowns or burning budget on unused infrastructure. So when you use a platform like ours, it is cost efficient, it's performant, and the thing we do is give you time back. And with that time back, you can focus on go to market, you can focus on growing, and focus on sales, which is really where we want our customers to be focused, right? Not necessarily on worrying is the infrastructure going to do what it needs to do.
Yep. And I think along with scaling, both the vertical scaling and the auto scaling, one more factor, one more component that plays very vital role in, I think, is real-time monitoring, or how good the monitoring is. I'll go back again to Cloudways Copilot, right? I gave an example. It's saving roughly 30-35 minutes of
Yeah.
downtime. Now, that downtime is really helping the customers saving their revenue loss by every second, right? The longer the downtime you have as an e-commerce store owner,
Mm.
the higher the revenue loss there is.
Yeah.
But if your managed hosting partner has real-time monitoring, and I think it goes even beyond that. Imagine a world where your hosting partner is really proactively telling you that, okay, your site is about to go down, and do this and this in order to avoid downtime happening in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think this monitoring plays a very vital role as well, in my opinion, along with scaling.
Awesome. Let's take a look at the comment section now and see if people have any questions or comments. So let's see. So Rachel asks that is Shopify the way to go hosting wise? I mean, she wants to know that if you want to go for reliable hosting, is Shopify the way to go? Because that comes with a brand, that comes with trust. Obviously, it has its own ecosystem, rather than if you're sort of on WordPress or WooCommerce, you have to pick and choose between different hosting providers, and then they have their own issues and support issues. So what do you have to say about people who want to choose Shopify because of comfort and the fact that it's more reliable?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a fan of both platforms, of WooCommerce that you just mentioned, as well as Shopify.
Yeah.
It really depends on the use case, right? I mean, I think both deliver very different experiences for very different use cases. Shopify can be great, especially if you're not technically, proficient, and you want something that's more drag and drop, sort of templated, easy to get started on. It's a great way to do it, and they've got their entire ecosystem, and it's very easy to use. Whereas with WooCommerce, you have unlimited control and flexibility, and we have customers that have very complex applications, right? And they need very complex functionality in their e-commerce stores, things that would be very difficult to try to figure out with Shopify. Actually, a lot of Cloudways customers will, especially agencies, they tend to use both, again, depending on what their end customer needs.
Yeah.
Sometimes they use Shopify, sometimes they'll use Woo, and really, I'm a fan of both platforms. It really just depends on the use case and what it is
Yeah.
that you're trying to accomplish.
Ariva, would you care to weigh in?
Yeah, I think WooCommerce being or WordPress being open source, it has its own perk, right? And but Shopify has made it so simple to host websites.
Yeah.
It attracts a lot of people, especially who are not that technically proficient. But I think both Shopify and WooCommerce have their
Yeah.
own pros and cons, and it really depends on the type of business that you are owning and your motivations, right? If you want full control of what you have built, I think WooCommerce is the way to go. If you want very simple hosting that makes sense in most of the cases, I think Shopify is the way to go. But I think it depends on you and your business case.
Boys, I would also say,
Mm.
like, get ready, because with what AI is doing, I think you're going to see that Woo experience become simpler and simpler over time.
Yeah.
And I think that you'll be able to do some things with AI in terms of managing that front end and just building the store and getting it launched in a much more seamless fashion. And I don't think we're years away from that. I think we're weeks and months away from that, candidly.
All right. Thank you so much, Ali and Sohaib. I think this is where we conclude this panel discussion. I think this has been extremely insightful. Thank you so much for the time that you took out to be here at the Prepathon stage and answer questions, helping people out with their hosting queries and concerns. You can by the way, you're free to hang out in the chat and talk to people and answer their queries and concerns regarding hosting and their hosting platform. So I would suggest that you take a few more minutes and do that. Apart from that, thank you so much, Ali. Thank you, Suhaib, for being here. And with that, we conclude this panel discussion. As for the viewers, do not go away. We are just midway through day one. We have a lot in store for you. Next up, we have an e-commerce crossword puzzle. It's an activity, so make sure that you have your pen and paper ready. So make sure to stick around, and we will be back in just a few minutes.